Social media has been flooded with opinions, pieces, and articles on the IIT Guwahati bail case, which was recently decided. I am here to offer my 2 cents on the biggest misconceptions about this particular case, because unlike 99% of the population who is offering comments on this case, I have actually read the order granting bail. The first biggest misconception is that the accused person was called a national treasure, and a lot of people are taking issue with that. Many sections of society with propaganda in their mind will want to conceal the fact that the honorable court called not only the boy but the girl national treasure as well. That does not completely take out of purview this particular thing. But the second biggest misconception, because of which the propaganda people raise their fingers and point towards the patriarchy, they want to talk about how this accused person walked scot-free after committing a heinous offense. The fact of the matter is, nobody wants you to see that this accused person did not walk free at the very, very minimum after having allegedly committed the offense. He was somewhere around the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd week of April taken into custody by the police. This bail order was not of anticipatory bail, where the person never went to jail and got protection from the court from arrest. This was a case of a person being in custody. Now, we cannot be sure because the date of arrest of the accused person is not mentioned in the bail order. But we can safely assume, because the incident is of the last week of March, that around the next 1 or 2 or 3 weeks thereafter, the person was definitely taken into custody. So for the propaganda machine to cry foul and say that nothing has been done in the matter would be very, very improper. Now, coming to whether this was the right call or not, the reasoning of the High Court was that investigation is complete. The charge sheet has been filed. Therefore, no evidence is yet to be collected. No statements of witnesses are to be recorded by the police or by the magistrate under Section 161 or Section 164 respectively of the Criminal Procedure Code. All the medical evidence is in the hands of the police and now in the hands of the court. Nothing else needs to be done qua investigation. Investigation is complete. The judge also observed that the complainant and the accused person are from 2 different states. So the possibility of the accused person threatening or intimidating the complainant is very, very less. Apart from the fact, the direction of the court directing the accused person to keep reporting to the local police station from time to time is also going to guarantee that the accused person does not have time to go to the state of the location of the complainant and try to intimidate or harass her and try to force her to take her case back or to give false testimony at the trial. And according to me, one of the biggest reasons for the person to get bail is something which was not explicitly talked about in the bail order, but which was definitely a consideration. Once the charge sheet is filed, the process of the trial will take many, many months, if not years. What will happen now is that the charge sheet was filed before the court of the magistrate. The magistrate will comply with the direction under Section 207 and 208 of the Criminal Procedure Code and forward the charge sheet to the Sessions Court. Before the Sessions Court, arguments on charge will take place. After that, the court will pass orders on charge, and after that, the witness will be called for giving her testimony. Even after that, there is a lot to be done in cases like these ones. Many, many witnesses, many pieces of evidence to be examined. Everything is to be done. How long is this accused person, before being found guilty, supposed to spend time in jail? Because let us not forget, at the end of the day, the citizens, the police, the judiciary also see many, many cases of false accusations where the person spends God knows how much time in custody. And I say, after appreciating all the evidence, if the judge finds that the proof collected by the prosecution beyond reasonable doubt points towards the guilt of the accused person, by all means, throw him in jail and let him rot. But till then, there is a very, very fundamental tenet of criminal jurisprudence, which is innocent until proven guilty. Another fundamental criminal jurisprudence tenet is bail and not jail is the rule. So bail is the rule, not the exception. That's another, saying which is passed on. We can get into debates about how politically correct or incorrect the statement might be. What we are talking about here is the conflict between the state wanting to ensure that heinous offenses are controlled by way of examples, and on the other hand, the effort to ensure that an individual citizen must not suffer incarceration before he is found guilty.